Merhaba, esteemed President, Excellencies, distinguished professors and guests. It's a great pleasure to be here at HOOFS, addressing you on this forum on critical foreign languages. This is a valuable initiative for encouraging understanding of foreign languages and their associated cultures, with the perspective of establishing a more cooperative relationship in the fields of language and culture between the participant countries. Therefore, I would full-heartedly thank the organizers of this forum for their constructive approach. In my presentation, I will introduce Turkish language by providing some brief historical context and share my thoughts on how we could promote more interest in Turkish language in Korea. Turkish is the most widely spoken of Turkic languages, with around 85 million speakers. It is the national language of Turkey and is also natively spoken by the Turkish diaspora in some 30 countries. Outside Turkey, significant smaller groups of speakers exist in Iraq, Syria, Germany, Austria, Bulgaria, North Macedonia, Northern Cyprus, Greece, Caucasus, and other parts of Europe and Central Asia. Turkish is a member of the Oghuz group of Turkic family and is mutually intelligible with Azerbaijani and other Turkic languages, which are spoken on a wide geographical area in Europe and Central Asia, among a population of close to 300 million people. Turkish belongs to the Altaic branch of the Ural-Altaic family of languages and is thus closely related to Mongolian, Manchu-Tungus, and Korean. Turkish is a very ancient language going back 5,500 to 8,500 years. It is a phonetic, morphological, and syntactic structure, and at the same time, it possesses a rich vocabulary. The fundamental features that distinguish Turkish and as a Ural-Altaic from the Indo-European languages are vowel harmony, absence of gender, agglutination, adjectives used before nouns, and your verbs used at the end of the sentence. Turkish languages spoken in Turkey can be classified according to three historical periods. The earliest known Old Turkic inscriptions are the three monumental Orc inscriptions found in modern-day Mongolia. With the Turkic expansion during the early Middle Ages, which is 6th to 11th centuries, people speaking Turkic languages spread across Central Asia, covering a vast geographical region stretching from Siberia all the way to Europe and the Mediterranean. Following the adoption of Islam in the 10th century by the Karakanid Khanate and the Seljuk Turks, who are both regarded as the ethnic and cultural ancestors of the Ottomans. The administrative language of these states acquired a large collection of loanwords from Arabic and Persian. After the foundation of the modern state of Turkey and the script reform in 1932, Turkey succeeded in removing several hundred Arabic and Persian words from the language and revived some of the old Turkish words that had not been used for centuries. In Turkey, we say every new language makes a new person. Languages open up horizons to new ideas, cultural interpretations, and ways of thinking. They carry with them the aura of thousands of years of tradition and thought. Geographically located at the crossroads of many continents, Turkey has served as a bridge and catalyst in the movement of knowledge and culture between the East and the West. Therefore, one can easily regard Turkey as a synthesis or a melting pot of diverse cultures and civilizations. As such, learning Turkish would be really helpful in understanding the region and bridging the divide between Eastern and Western cultures and values. Studying Turkish also lays a solid foundation for learning other modern Turkic languages like Azerbaijani, Kazakh, Kyrgyz, Tatar, Uzbek, and Uyghur. The different Turkic languages are closely related, and some of them are even mutually intelligible. Many of these languages are spoken in regions of vital strategic importance. It would also be relatively easy for Koreans to learn Turkish because of the following reasons. Related to Finnish, Hungarian, and Korean, Turkish is virtually grammatically identical to Korean. It is an agglutinative language that adds suffixes to the root word, and the regularity and predictability in Turkish of how these suffixes are added make it easier to internalize. Also similar to Korean, Turkish has postpositions rather than prepositions, and objects usually precede verbs, making it surprisingly fast for Turkish and Koreans to learn each other's languages. Finally, I would like to touch upon ways to promote Turkish and Korean languages in our respective countries. There's plenty of interest in Turkey about Korean culture, especially K-pop music, and TV dramas are very popular among youngsters in Turkey. There are many teenagers that are attending Korean language courses because of their growing interest towards Korea. Our students come to Korea to enroll in its renowned universities, building bonds of friendship that will last for a lifetime. On the other hand, the more than 1,000 Turkish people living in Korea and around 3,000 Koreans living in Turkey serve as a permanent bridge between these two countries. We are glad to observe that Turkey, thanks to the Hof's language education programs, there are many proficient Turkish-speaking Koreans. Turkish Embassy has recently signed a declaration of intent document with Hofs to encourage student exchange programs in order to further enhance their language skill level and as well as their mutual awareness towards each other's cultures. To this end, I believe we should reinforce our capacity for student exchanges. Similarly, we can work on a professor exchange program between Hofs and selected foreign language universities in Turkey. This would not only promote language exchange and proficiency, but also allow for a wider spectrum of cooperation between our educational institutions. In 2019, we established the Yunus Emre Institute within the Hankook University of Foreign Studies as the first and only Turkish cultural institute in Korea. I'm happy to note that this institute's invaluable contributions into strengthening the cultural bonds between Turkey and Korea, these are really commendable. Its language courses are also instrumental in introducing more Koreans to the Turkish language and culture. We can further develop the relationship between Hofs and Yunus Emre Institute so that language teaching programs are more integrated and coordinated. In terms of future projects aimed at increasing awareness for each other's languages, I strongly support Hofs initiatives such as the development of a standard curriculum for each of the critical languages. Also, developing basic materials on standard curriculums, books, and tests would be beneficial. Furthermore, developing dictionaries for different language levels, language skill levels, and doing this on a digital platform would be highly productive. Another initiative we can work on is to build a digital platform for critical foreign languages education, where students can easily access necessary educational materials as well as form networking groups. As such, we can consider establishing a student Turkish language club and a study group within Hofs. In a similar way, as is already done by Hofs, we can promote further language competitions where winners are awarded all-inclusive trips to Turkey. In the academic fields, we can hold annual or biannual Turkish-Korean language or literature conferences between Hofs and prominent Turkish universities. One other thought is to launch a summer school or a camp program, encouraging Turkish and Korean students to visit each other's country during their summer vacations. An important aspect of raising awareness of Turkish in Korea is the effective use of social media platforms such as Instagram and Facebook. We can identify social media influencers in Korea and arrange for them a trip to Turkey to introduce them to the Turkish culture and language. In closing, I would like to emphasize the importance of cultural interactions in strengthening mutual understanding among peoples and creating an environment conducive for cooperation. As the fundamental mode of communication between individuals, language is perhaps one of the most critical or crucial elements for establishing this understanding. Therefore, by diminishing the barriers of language through initiatives such as the CFL, we will be better suited to further strengthen the awareness and brotherhood between our nations. Thank you.